So I'm finally off to another trip. As you see this video, I should actually be in Mexico right now. So I'm pretty excited. Hopefully I'm enjoying myself and I didn't get shot or robbed or kidnapped because I don't really have that much money. I could just imagine them like contacting my parents and being like, you know, give us all your money. And it's like, he's got a few bikes we can mail to you and maybe a few $100s, but not much. Obviously I'm joking. So in this video, I figured I'd tell you my expectations for this trip because it's the first time I'm actually going to Mexico. And I've got a couple pretty cool things planned. I'm gonna hike up to the highest mountain of Mexico, which is actually the third highest mountain in North America. So it's Pico de Orizaba, which is like 18,500 feet or 5,600 meters, which will be actually the highest I've been, because in China or some places I've probably been up to, I don't know, maybe 17,000 feet, but I don't think I've been quite as high as this. So that'll be the highest mountain for me, a good challenge. And then I got a motorcycle trip for a week. And so I'll fly into Mexico City, and it's cool because I actually know a few girls there that I met 10 years ago when I lived in Chongqing, China. It was my first year back in China after I left Taiwan, and they were studying Chinese there, and I was teaching English at Chongqing University. And this university was like 45 minutes outside the city. So, you know, there's only a small clique of foreigners of, you know, maybe 30 or 40 of us out there. So we got to hang out quite a bit there. And so I might even stay with one of the girls, which is cool because I'm definitely on the budget. And I'll hang out in Mexico City for a couple days, which should be cool. Yeah, so it's been a while since I did a trip to another country. I think the last one I did was to Malaysia in 2017. I guess the year before that I did Bali. And I was in Cambodia and China, but I had already visited or lived there the last few years. So, yeah, it's the first new country in about 6 years or so. Yeah, and it's pretty sweet, too, because, you know, Mexico City is less than 4 hours from Denver. And so I've got a direct flight to, like, a completely different world, basically, within a few hours. Because I imagine Mexico City is totally different than any other city I've been in North America. After a couple days, I'll get my motorcycle. I already arranged to rent a 250. I wanted an enduro, but this is a little bit more like kind of like a street bike, but I figured for most things it should be pretty good. And then I'll head down like, I guess 200 miles or so southeast of Mexico City, which is where that highest mountain is. And I'll sleep there either in a hotel or I might stay up on the mountain in a hut. It depends. I think right now I'm looking at the south route. You could either do the northern route, which is a little longer at like 2 miles, or the southern route, which is about a mile, which doesn't sound like anything. But when you're at that crazy elevation, you know, that northern route takes all day. You know, get up super early before light and go. That's a little bit less steep, but you've got a glacier, and so I don't really want to do that by myself. The south side gets more sun, so there's probably less ice and snow, but it's a little steeper and maybe a little bit more technical, but you technically don't need mountaineering equipment. So I did contact a company and they didn't even respond, so I was like, I'm on such a budget, I don't really want to spend another $750 on that, although obviously it would be the better option. And so, yeah, my expectations of that, I'm not sure, you know, if I'd be able to complete it. I'd say like a 75% chance. I've obviously been almost this high before, and I've had some altitude sickness and issues, but I've generally been able to make it to most of the peaks that I've set out to do. One in China was almost this high, and we did make it up. It was insane, though. It was like, there was this climbing area that was like a steep-ass ridge, and we would have had to spend basically another day or two, and I was like, you know, we weren't going to make it in the time we expected, and I didn't know there would be that much climbing and stuff. I'm not going to do like a ton of training. I'm in Colorado right now. I'm going, you know, within a week of this trip, I'm going to hike up to, let's say, 12,000 feet, which is nothing close to 18,000 feet. I could go over to like Pikes Peak or something and hike part of that, which I might do, but we'll see. I don't know how much time I'm going to have. And it's also really just 1 mile, not an easy mile, a very difficult mile, but I think if I could get up there quick enough and down, I'll be all right. And then for the next week, I'll just go up through the mountains, through the countryside, to like some small towns. My Spanish is horrible. That's also going to be interesting on this trip, but I've been through many countries where they don't know English. Of course, there's some concern about the dangers, but I looked at the map of the area. As far as the danger, I looked at like the travel advisory on the U.S. State Department site, and it doesn't look too bad in the area I'm going. It looks okay. west of Mexico City is bad, up in the north and other areas. But east of Mexico City and northeast didn't look too bad. So that doesn't mean that nothing bad can happen. Of course, anything bad can happen. But I generally think things should go okay. And I think the only worst possible situation would be if I did get robbed, as far as like the fact that I've got my drone and my camera and my GoPro, like $3,500. So I'll have to see what my insurance covers, or look into maybe I need to get insured for that. And then the motorcycle getting stolen would be a big deal. Of course, I'm sure I'll have some insurance, but I don't need that happening. I just saw a guy's video, an American guy who's down there only a few weeks ago, and he had like this nice expensive 650 that got stolen right out of the hotel parking lot. But I saw the video, he shows it, and the dude just walks out, and I'm like, how do you not lock your wheel? I mean, it wasn't like the front doors were going to be closed always, right? So, I mean, you definitely always got to lock your wheel or make sure it's secure. So, I don't know if he just kind of assumed it was going to be safe or what, but you got to have that wheel locked, because people obviously could just walk away with like $10,000, $20,000. So, yeah, you got to make sure you're safe with that. So anyway, I think it's going to be a great trip. I don't think there's anything going to be super exciting. I mean, I think that's going to be an epic thing if I could do that peak. You know, I could feel my body. It's not like I'm 22 anymore. And so I'm 43. I know there's not too many more years where I'm going to do these tough peaks like this. So it should be a cool trip. I'm sure there's good food. You know, I'm sure my friends will show me around a bit. And so that's great. I know a couple people there. And really looking forward to it. It's a short trip, only 10 days. But I'm going to make the most of it and make probably 5, 6, 7 videos about it. So anyway, hope I have some cool footage and everything goes good. And I'll see you guys later. Cheers.